So this is a difficult standard deviation problem. We're asked to compare the standard deviation of A, B, and C with these three numbers. And we're also given these relationships. So the first thing we're going to do is to rewrite these terms in terms of one of the variables. You can choose any one, but I'm going to choose A, express everything in terms of A. So the first relationship here tells us B is A plus 10. So I have A plus 10, and then C from the second relationship is B plus 4, and B is A plus 10. So if I replace that here, that's A plus 14. So those, I need to compare standard deviation of these three terms with 2, 12, and 16. So there are two ways we can do this. First, we can just find the average here, which is 28 plus 2 is 30 divided by 3. Average is 10. And then find the deviations. And you just have to compare the deviations. There is a quicker way, and I'll do that later. And here, these terms, 12 is 2 to the right, and I'm using plus for that. 16 is 4 to the right, and here the deviation is 8 to the left. So these are the three deviations, and the important part is how these deviations compare to these quantities. Now here the average, if I add all these terms, would be 3A plus 24, and if I divide this by 3, that would be my average. This is A plus 8. That's my average. Now the deviations from the average, the first term is 8 to the left, A plus 10 is 2 to the right, and A plus 14 is going to be, let me just make sure I didn't make a mistake, A plus, it's going to be plus 6, and I noticed I made a mistake here. So this is, the 16 is 6 units, so not 4, but 6. And if you compare the deviations that are exactly identical, deviations from the average. So these two quantities, or these two sets of numbers, have the same standard deviation. So the answer is C. The other way to approach this is when you add or subtract a fixed number, the standard deviation of the set doesn't change. So this set, if I subtract A from all of these, has the same standard deviation as this set. And I want to make it look like this, so I'm going to add 2 to each one of these terms. That doesn't change the standard deviation. It changes the average and the numbers themselves. And you would notice that these two are identical. So that's the other way, if you know this concept that adding or subtracting a fixed number to a set doesn't change the standard deviation, because you're just merely shifting the entire distribution. The standard deviation is a measure of how far the numbers are on average from the average. And so that's the key concept, and the answer is C.